Let's run through the rules of what life will look like in Queensland when 80% of people aged 16 and over are fully vaccinated. You can basically go anywhere if you're vaccinated. If you're not, then you'll be banned from hospitality venues, live music venues and festivals, Queensland government stadiums, galleries, museums, even libraries. Unvaxxed visitors will also be shut out of aged care, hospitals, prisons and disability services, unless it's an emergency, you're having a baby or it's an end-of-life situation. There'll also be no limit on weddings where all the guests are double jabbed. But how to prove it? From November 17, the Queensland Government check-in app will enable people to show their vaccination certificate, and venue staff will be asking. If you kick up a stink, they've been told to call the police. If you're not vaccinated, a wedding is capped at 20 people and you can catch public transport and do essential shopping. It's a big stick to encourage vaccination, and the Premier expects the 80% milestone to be hit on or before December the 17th, which also signals big changes to cross-border travel. So these are the rules for Christmas travel this year, and they're slightly different for domestic and international arrivals. If you are entering Queensland from interstate and haven't been in a declared hotspot in the past 14 days, there are no restrictions and no quarantine is required. If you have been in a declared hotspot in the past 14 days, you can still come into Queensland by road or by air, but what happens next depends on your vaccination and testing status. If you're fully vaccinated and you can show a negative COVID test within the past 72 hours, there is no quarantine needed, so you're free to roam. If you can't meet these requirements, then it's a stint in hotel quarantine. Now to international travel. If you arrive direct, you can do home quarantine if you're an Australian citizen or permanent resident, fully vaccinated and have that negative test result. If you can't meet those three conditions, you have to do hotel quarantine and may be subject to our arrival caps. If you're coming from a safe travel zone country like New Zealand, no quarantine applies. If you're gatewaying through another Australian city on your way to Queensland, you're good if you've done quarantine in that state or territory. Otherwise, you have to do home quarantine. This all means border checkpoints are going to stay in place until 90% of people aged 16 and over are double vaccinated. That milestone is not expected until sometime early in the new year, but once it is reached, there'll be no border restrictions for the fully vaccinated, while the unvaccinated will still need to serve some period of quarantine.